This is what's pissing me off today. I'm Bob Pritchard. Well, as I'm sure you've heard by now, the Air Canada flight attendants remain out on strike, and I'm not very happy about the whole situation. As it turned out, for this particular strike, I had a number of people who were flying and family members, and it's worked out, well, very poorly for them. Fortunately, everybody got to where they needed to get to, but not because of the Air Canada flight attendants. The bottom line on it is they went out on strike for what I thought was a complete, well, I could use a word right in there, but I'm not going to, a really bad excuse to walk off the job. And the initial reason for their strike was that, well, they were not being paid for a lot of hours. Hold on now. This is the airline industry. Aviation works on hours in aircraft, and that's it. Even as the most junior pilot, a training pilot sits down and carefully logs the number of hours that they spend actually flying an airplane, not walking around an airplane or getting to the airport or anything. Same thing goes for everybody who's flight crew, including the Air Canada flight attendants. I noticed that when they finally did walk off the job, that little card vanished from the discussion line entirely, and it comes down to they just want wage parity with other airlines, and I understand that, and I wish them all the best in getting it. However, by walking off the job, knowing full well the government would in all probability put legislation in place forcing them back on the job, even if they choose to ignore it, meant that a lot of people suffered in a lot of really horrible ways. Think about it. You save up your money, you go out on vacation, you fly down to a great resort, you're having a wonderful time, then the airline shuts down because of a strike and you can't get home. Well, actually, you could get home if you happen to have an extra $5,000 or $7,000 to pay the, well, increased prices for airline tickets. And that's the other little piss off in this whole thing, is the airlines have stepped right up, not Air Canada, because they're obviously shut down, but everybody else has stepped up and said, well, if you want to fly with us, bring your credit card because it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. My stepson's flight back to Japan, which he paid about $1,700 each for on Air Canada, was as high as $9,000 over this past weekend. That's a big gouge, but I guess if you're an airline and used to screwing people over, it's just the way things go these days. Anyway, they're going to be forced back to work by legislation. Everybody's going to complain about it. In the end, they'll probably get a relatively decent settlement from Air Canada. The prices of tickets are probably going to go up, and well, we'll just suffer in the interim because that's the way they like it. And that's what's pissing me off today. I'm Bob Pritchard.